Alright, thank you once again for clicking on this video that showed my mug in the thumbnail. I do appreciate that. Before we get started, I do want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by Noom. Noom is a consumer-led digital health program, but it's more than that. Noom uses human coaches, psychology, and science to empower people to take control of their health. They take control of their health through healthy eating habits, exercise, and mindset. I appreciate the fact that Noom operates with that concept of the symbiotic relationship between the mental and the physical. And that's why I jumped on a resounding yes when they wanted to sponsor this video, because if you look at the last couple years, at least for me, the last couple years have been very conducive to a negative mindset and negative habits. And I, for one, I'm over it. So new year, better habits, positive mindset. I'm on this Noom journey. Looking forward to where it takes me, both physically and mentally. If you want to start that journey for yourself, click the link below, go to noom.com/Johns, get yourself a free Noom evaluation and a 7-day trial, see where it takes you. And thank you once again to Noom for sponsoring this video. I do appreciate it. And now, we get to the review, because that's kind of what we do here. So the 355 is an espionage spy thriller with a great cast, but it's that espionage spy thriller. Did you see a trailer for that movie where you're like, oh, that looks interesting, and now you're like, oh, the movie came out already? I totally forgot about it. That's the 355. It revolves around a crew of spies or former spies throughout the world. There's this device. In terms of cyber terrorism, this is a super bad device. It can manipulate, shut down. It can basically do anything to anything in the digital world. I mean it when I say, in terms of cyber terrorism, it's now the worst digital cyber terrorist device ever devised for cinema. So this crew of spies, generally speaking, led by Jessica Chastain, they're like, we don't know who to trust, we don't know if we can trust our agencies, but they do feel like they can trust each other. So they're gonna save the day. And yeah, the cast in this movie, legit cast. Jessica Chastain, Diane Kruger, Lupita Nyong'o, Penelope Cruz. And this great cast probably adds to the disappointment of the movie, the fact that the movie's just okay with a cast like that. What I liked about the movie, there were a couple moments in here, great moments of tension, and it's the acting among the actors that really sells the tension. Lupita Nyong'o in particular was a standout when it comes to that. Also, as much as the movie has fun with its premise and fun with the cast and crew, it's not a comedy. They don't go for laughs and jokes. Feels weird to be like, that's a positive. But in this day and age, a lot of movies, they do go for the jokes, and it kind of takes me out of the movie. This movie didn't do that. And as much as I will say, when it's going down at the end of the movie, like the end shootout, the last shootout in this movie was actually pretty sweet. Would have been better if I could see more of it, because yes, this movie does that bullshit shaky cam. I shouldn't be too surprised. Even The Matrix does shaky cam now. Nothing is safe. It's not just shaky cam, it's the editing also. When someone does something as simple as picks up a gun and shoots a few people, I don't need a bunch of edits to give me a bunch of different angles with that. Just frame it up, let me see what's going on. John Wicket, or for this female-centric film, Jane Wicket, if you prefer the terminology. I don't care, just frame it up well. I noticed that was gonna be a problem earlier on in the movie when people are chasing people and the camera's doing that. I was like, oh God. It's 2022. I thought we were past it. The biggest hurdle this movie has to overcome is the fact that it just feels 20 years behind the times. It feels 20 years too late. It does feel like this aggregate, like someone sat down and was like, hey, it'd be cool if we had Jason Bourne action movie in a Mission Impossible type setting with a new crew. Little bit of Ocean's 11 thrown in there because it has the flavor of that too. And if it was this Jason Bourne, Ocean's 11 Mission Impossible movie that came out when Ocean's 11 and Jason Bourne came out, or not Jason Bourne, it's Bourne Identity. You know what I mean? It'd feel like this cool hybrid of the two. Like someone saw both the movies and was like, oh, hey, let's fuse them. Great. Feels new. Feels like the marriage of cinema I've wanted for the past year and a half, because it's the early 2000s. But in 2022, this movie just feels like it's late to the action movie spy thriller party. I don't know the story of production for this movie, but if I found out that the 355 was written back in the early 2000s and was just sitting on a shelf and got dusted off recently and they decided to make it into a movie finally, I wouldn't be surprised. Not at all. And that out of date, at the very least late to the party feeling has to do with some of the plot twists too. There's some plot twists in here. It's like, didn't see that coming, did you? It's like, I did, because I've seen these movies since, you know, the 80s, 90s, 2000s to now. Yeah, it might have been mind-blowing back in 1987. It's just not in 2022. I didn't hate the movie. Like, I walked out of the movie going, the movie was fine. Like, it was okay. It was fine. But there are so many spy thriller movies, espionage movies, heist movies out there that are so much more than just fine. 24 hours in a day, this movie's 2 hours long, which it feels a bit longer than that. Like, it didn't. At a point, I was like, this movie has really good pacing, because I thought we were in the third act, and then it was just like, oh, it's not ending. It's still going. It's still going. It's still ending. Yeah, you know that movie has great time management thing I was just thinking? I take it back. But a 2-hour movie is 1/12 of your day. Am I going to be like, hey, you should watch this movie. You should take up 1/12 of your day on this movie? I can't do that. Movies like this happen every year. At the end of the year in December, when I'm making my top 10 best, top 10 worst list, and I'm scrolling through my reviews, seeing what I reviewed, I'll run across my review, the 355, and I'll be like, oh wow, totally forgot about that movie. Would have been better suited to come out in 2003-ish. But for 2022, I'm just not going to remember the movie in T-minus 1 day. Wait, what are we talking about? All right, so the 355, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Did you forget that it was even coming out? Did you know it was out right now? Or what's your favorite espionage and or spy thriller? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.